This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All righty, there they are, ready and wait a minute, let me eliminate this. There they are. How you doing, boys? Good afternoon.
What's going on?
As your beat gets better on a Saturday.
Or on a Friday night, however you're looking at it.
Yeah, however you want to look at it, but it's a beautiful Saturday. The team made the move, at least I was hoping for. I don't know about you guys, but first of all, George, let's start off with you. Your thoughts on this move when you first saw it?
Yeah, I was, pretty taken aback. I mean, you didn't expect something to happen like that at 11 o'clock on a Friday night in July. These blockbuster deals usually don't happen, or maybe they do. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of experience with them covering the Panthers all these years, but just a heck of a move, I think. I mean, listen, it sucks for the fan base. So many people love Jonathan Huberdeau, to a lesser extent Mackenzie Weegar, but he is definitely a big piece of this Florida Panthers team. But the player you're getting back is so good. You couldn't have both of them. You couldn't have Tkachuk and Jonathan Huberdeau. You couldn't have both. So one of them had to go to get the other. So you're either giving that money to Jonathan Huberdeau at 30 years old, or you're giving it to a 24-year-old Matthew Tkachuk. And South Florida fans may not know this guy. He played for the Calgary Flames. I get that. They may confuse him with his dad, whatever. This guy is legit, and South Florida fans are going to get to know him real quick.
Well, David, the move that really, and when George says, it's a shame for Huberdeau, I think of Shaquille O'Neal, and dude, you had to move Lamar and you had to move Caron Butler. It was part of that threesome that they had, and everybody got attached to those three guys. But if you wanted Shaq, you're going to have to give up something. And if you wanted Alonzo Mourning, you were going to have to move Glenn Rice. These are the blockbuster moves that we've seen in the past. And Blvd had to make a move, and he gave up talent, but he got exactly the ingredient he needed for this team.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to what you and I were talking about the other day, that the Panthers' goal right now is to become the best playoff team that they can be. And I think looking at Matthew Tkachuk and what he brings to the table, in addition to the scoring element, because obviously he can score. He put up over 100 points last season, 40-plus goals, and he's still just 24 years old. But he's very gritty. He's very physical. He goes into those dirty, mucky areas. And we saw Jonathan Huberdeau kind of grow a little bit into that game a little bit more last season. He got stronger last summer, and he was, playing shorthanded, and his 200-foot game improved. But I think with Matthew Tkachuk, you're getting a younger player that they're expecting similar production, but somebody who's also a little bit more perhaps suited for the playoff game that escaped the team this year. And I think that's something that really has leaked into the offseason, into some of the moves that were made, as I think the Panthers' goal has been to make themselves better come playoff time. And I think this move has a lot to do with that.
George, the other thing that Blvd proves, he picked up a couple of whales in the middle of the season this past year, trying to seal the deal, and you can't blame them for trying, okay? Because that's exactly what the Heat do. That's exactly what the Dolphins do. The Heat end up winning more, obviously, but the Panthers, I mean, to make this move, all right, kind of it proves once again how committed this ownership is, because since they took over, they inherited a general manager that was known as a great general manager, and they gave him some time, but then they made the tough decision of having to make that change. And they've had to make the tough changes with players, and they've improved the roster, and they've improved the arena, and now they're improving their practice facilities, and now they're improving their commitment to the community. My point is, we have to magnify the commitment of Viola and Sifu, that it's not just on the ice, but it's everywhere, and people need to start realizing the kind of commitment that these guys are making.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it, and they know the way to have success is to win and win a lot and win year after year. Okay, and nobody wants to win more than Vinny Viola. This is a guy that he'll do anything that that he lets the hockey guys make the decisions. Whatever you need, I'll give it to you. And you talk about the practice facility and all that stuff. This is a destination now. I see David Dwork's background. I assume that he's in Plantation, Florida. This is now a destination spot. We saw it with Claude Giroux. He said, "I'll only go to the Florida Panthers." You saw Joe Thornton try and chase the Stanley Cup with the Panthers, and now it sounds like Steve Tkachuk told them, "I will only sign with the Panthers," and that kind of forced the hand again. The guys want to be here. They want to be in South Florida, not only for the beach, like where David is, but to win. It's not the old days where the Florida Panthers were signing guys for the flip-flops to practice deal, guys who wanted to golf in the afternoon. They want that. They want to drive the golf cart down A1A like Jonathan Huberdeau, but they want to win. And ownership plays a big part. These guys, there are no restrictions on them. They get all the little things that maybe in the past the Panthers were pretty cheap on. They stay in the best hotels. They fly on the best plane. They've got everything. There's no, they stay the extra night out of town to save on travel. Guys appreciate that stuff, and not every team does it. So the Florida Panthers have done a great job of changing the culture. And then you look at Bill Zito when you talk about changing the culture. David, who's left from the Florida Panthers of 2020 on this team right now since Bill Zito took over? What, 3 players are left?
Yeah.
Sasha Barkov,
Ekblad,
Sergei Bobrovsky. 3 players are left from the 2020 bubble blowout against the Islanders. That is unbelievable turnover in the National Hockey League. You would think that this was the Arizona Coyotes with this kind of turnover. Teams that turn over this quickly usually are at the bottom of the league standings, not the top. This has been a rebuild on the fly with very successful results so far.
So we look at Tkachuk now on the ice with Barkov.
You would think. You would assume.
I would imagine. I mean, as with that kind of goal scoring, that's my point now, David. Here's my question to you. With Barkov's passing, this guy easily could get over 50 goals this year. That's what I'm expecting now. I'm going over 50 now with Tkachuk this year.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is the guy that you and I have said they needed. They needed an alpha. They needed somebody who's out there being that guy with a nose for the net. Look, it's fun having playmakers, but this is a guy, if you go look at his highlight, he gets 40-something goals last year. He's scoring from sharp angles. He's deflecting pucks. He's putting pucks on the net. He's one-timing it. He's doing it all. His goal is getting goals. And I think it's going to be nice. I wouldn't assume that he's going to play on Barkov's wing just because you wouldn't assume that Huberdeau is going to play on Barkov's wing. They split the two of them up to share the wealth, and, we'll see what Paul Maurice wants to do. But the Panthers are getting a guy at 24 years old. I mean, we may just be scratching the surface on what this guy can do.
Yes.
I think that's the biggest thing. Yeah. You're getting him at his absolute best. And that was the whole contract thing. You knew Barkov wanted to get 7-8 years, 30 years old. When he's 34, 35, that contract's looking a little rough. Right. That's just the nature of the beast. Maybe Jonathan Huberdeau. Yeah,
but you know what? But you know what? He's giving you a whole career, so you can afford, and it's the classy thing to let him finish out his career the last couple of years, and you're paying him for. It's kind of like the UD thing. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of that kind of.
Yeah, but not at that kind of money. But that's
no. I know.
You.
You're
when
right.
He's 34 years old. That contract handcuffs you. With Matt Tkachuk, in 4 years he's going to be 28. I mean, you are getting the best years of this guy's career now. I mean,
and at $9.5 million, that could be a bargain.
Scratching the surface.
Right. So, Walk me through. I don't know which one of you guys wants to do this. What's the money situation now? They were really tight. Now all these changes. How is the money juggled now? Is there anything free left? Are they super tight? What's the deal?
Yeah, I'll go with this. Really no change, because even with losing the two guys, with the money that Matt Tkachuk, his new contract kicks in at $9.5 million. You gave up $6 million in Huberdeau and $3.5 million, so that's a wash. The Panthers are exactly where they were before. They still have to make some moves, and then now they probably need a better, some defensive help, because you just lost a nice piece in Mackenzie Weegar. Mackenzie Weegar, I believe, was not coming back after this coming season. I think that they were going to sign Jonathan Huberdeau to that extension out of loyalty, because it's Jonathan Huberdeau, and because you're going to get 3, 4, 5 good years left out of that. That's what they were going to do. And they were going to keep Mackenzie Weegar as a rental. Paying him $3.5 million, you keep Weegar, and then you say, buddy, go get your paycheck, man. You've deserved it. And now he'll get that in Calgary, most likely. They still have to make some moves. I think some money's going to be moving off. You still look at that Patrick Hornquist, $5.3 million. It is an absolute luxury to have that on a cap-strapped team. I don't know what they're going to do with it. That's just something to keep an eye on. But they don't have to be cap compliant until opening, a couple days before opening night, so they're okay right now.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. What are you expecting, David? We'll wrap it up.
In terms of roster moves, I mean, we'll see. Obviously, they're going to have to put Anthony Duclair on long-term IR, which is just going to be a temporary thing, because he's slated to come back around mid-season. So there's going to be more moves to come, even for them to get cap compliant by opening night. You're going to be getting that $3 million from Anthony Duclair back mid-season as well. So there's still going to be moves to be made. I'm sure, they're well aware of this, and they've got some kind of a plan in place, because that's the way Blvd operates. Whether something happens between now and the beginning of the regular season, we'll have to see. As George said, they're a little light right now in the defensive area. I think their top 6 would include Lucas Carlson and Mark Stahl. So obviously a little bit of a step down from, when you had a Weegar and Ekblad, Forsling, Montour. That was a pretty formidable top 4. And also we've seen Bill Zito. He's been a guy that's coveted defenseman in his tenure with the Panthers. Like, he's always been bringing in defensemen, whether they've worked out or whether they haven't. You think of like the Ole Levy move from a year ago. You think of Gus Forsling, who he picked up off waivers. So I'm sure they've got their eyes on some guys there as well. But big picture, Orlando, this is a team now that has a bunch of guys in their mid-20s that are really good players locked up for the next 3, 4, 5, or in cases like Tkachuk, 8 years. Barkov, 8 years. Ekblad, I think he's here for another 3 or 4 years on his deal. This is a team that is built to last for a while now. And as George said, it's been a rebuild since 2020, but it's been a pretty damn good rebuild, because they've been in the playoffs every year. They've gotten better every year. So it has been a rebuild by definition. Pretty impressive. Very un-Panthers-like.
Yeah, very you don't see this in the NHL. You just don't. You don't see this kind of. You can do it in the in the NBA if you get the right draft pick, you get the right free agent.
Yeah, you only need a couple players.
Yeah, you only need 8 guys. To do this in the NHL in the cap era has been quite impressive.
How about this? We'll wrap it up with this. This is the most competitive ownership groups we've ever had in South Florida. I can talk with both of you about this because I know both of you follow all sports. Inter Miami just traded for the league MVP from 2 seasons ago in Pozuelo. Okay, and he spent all kinds of money early on. He just the first GM just bought the wrong DPs. This guy, Chris Henderson, he knows his shit. He helped build Seattle, so you can see it's already turning around with Inter. But Moss is going to spend. Mickey's going to spend, and they're going to go get whales because they do it all the time. Ross is going to spend, and looks like Greer got the right whales with Tyreek and Teron Armstead. And now we're watching Zito and Viola and Seafood do their thing. Outside of the Marlins, the other 4 ownership groups, this might be the most competitive ownership groups we've had here in South Florida history, by the way.
Well, I would leave out the MLS team, and I would trade you the MLS team for the Miami Hurricanes. They've got some pretty good ownership right now.
That's not professional.
Yeah, it seems to be it is now. They got billions of how much are they spending in NIL? That's ownership, buddy.
No, I get that, but sticking to the pros, and I guess you don't follow Inter, but they just traded for the league scorer from 2 years ago, so they went and traded for a hell of a forward that they needed. So my point is, Moss built a stadium for fun in Fort Lauderdale that he's going to dump in a couple of years to go back to Miami. He spent $200 million for fun.
Well, if I got a gift like that from Dade County, I would too. I mean, come on.
No, but really? So the baseball owner that we had prior, or maybe even this one, they're going to do that kind of stuff.
Up the Marlins. That's a joke.
That's my point. That's why I left the Marlins out. Yeah. What I'm saying is the other 4 teams, the ownership groups and the front offices. Yeah. Look incredibly.
Your point is well made. Yes, and I'll give you the MLS because why not? Because whatever. This is unbelievable.
Whatever. The guy's going to build 2 stadiums. He has 2 teams.
Well, I would too if you gave me the entire Melreese golf course. No, but stadium. He's going to make billions on that deal. Yeah, I'll build you a stadium.
But you still got to give him love for doing it, bro. Well, there's guys that want their cake and they eat it too. Jeffrey Loria. You know what I'm saying? By the way, Billy Cunningham, Billy Cunningham, Louis Chaffel. I know, rest in peace.
Well, those guys didn't have any money. Those guys got, that was a different era than Billy Cunningham.
Yeah, I get it, but they held us. They held our asses up for money. They came away clean and did nothing. Right. So you know what I'm saying? So
listen, they're all credit when they do it to put the best product out there on the ice, on the court, on the turf. Absolutely. This is a great time for South Florida sports. Absolutely.
I think it's definitely. Don't you agree, Dwork? I know, because I know you go to all the sports.
No, for sure. I think what you touched on, it's having owners that are willing to spend, and it's having executives that know what they're doing. It's that synergy. And I think, Ross has been willing to spend forever with the Dolphins. I think for whatever reason, Greer is just starting to hit on his moves, and that's why the Dolphins appear to be turning that corner. But with Inter Miami, you can see the frustration from the first couple of years, and they're starting to come out of it now. And the Panthers, we've known that Vinny Viola and Doug Sifu and that group has been willing to spend, but it's Bill Zito's coming in with these shrewd moves where it's all working out. So I think it's that synergy that you need. You got to have somebody willing to spend, but you can throw money at a problem for decades. Look at the Miami Dolphins. Stephen Ross has been spending millions and millions and millions, and they have been running in place. So I think right now, as George said, it's a great time to be a South Florida sports fan because of the synergy between ownership and front offices really across the board. The Marlins just have to catch up.
Follow him at George Richards. Follow him at David Dwork. Follow and subscribe at Florida Hockey Now. Subscribe at Chirping the Cats podcast and catch him there at WPLG doing his thing. George Richards, David Dwork, gentlemen, thank you. Much love. We'll catch up next week.
Thank you, Orlando. See you, bud.
You got it. There you go. David Dwork and George Richards. How about that? You going to get that anywhere else today? No, you're not going to get that anywhere else today.
Why is it